Hello again, beautiful people. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Crystal from Heart Musings with Crystal, and I have officially come to the end of my journal fodder challenge that I had been attempting to do these last 2 weeks. So if you are new to this channel, or if you're unaware of what my journal fodder challenge was, I challenged myself for 2 weeks of February to only use things that I created or manipulated myself in my journal. That meant no printables, collage sheets, no sticker books. It was just all things that I made or changed myself. So I'm gonna do a quick flip and just kind of talk you through some of my favorite parts of each page, things that I've really enjoyed and things that I struggled with in this challenge. So first of all, this side here does not correspond with my challenge. I typically like to leave the first page at the start, before the actual journaling pages start in the month, for a currently monster from Courtney Diaz and then her monthly image, because I like to indicate what days I actually journaled. And I do this when I work in an undated journal. So yeah, this side does not count. I did not make these things myself. My pages start here. Okay, so I did this page on camera with you guys. It was a video that just went up a couple days ago. What I worked on here, I made this background piece here. I made my own days. I wanted to do coffee mugs where the handles were the numbers. I'm not the most talented at drawing, but I really liked the sketchy, messy look. So, and that's kind of an overall theme for these pages. I felt that they turned out very sketchy and don't really look as refined or as polished as I normally like my pages. But yeah, that's typically what you get when you do handmade things. So yeah, so I did my numbers. I used some sticker paper to write out new cover, and then I cut out these little triangle pieces. This here, I made days of the week using those printed papers that I did on camera. And then this was an image that I got from a book from a McDonald's Happy Meal. So I mentioned it a million times before, but I live in Germany. I don't speak German, and I still eat Happy Meals. So it just so happened that they were giving out children's book, but I don't read German, so I use the images sometimes in my journal. And I cut out this bear and I put on this party hat from a previous video that I did when I was trying to do, I don't know if it was when I was trying to do iCAD or if I was just experimenting with art dolls and paper dolls and stuff. I will link it below in case you're interested. But yeah, I made my own little quirky party hat. And on this day, I got the Dwight Schrute Funko Pop that I had pre-ordered, where he's wearing the jack-o'-lantern on his head for Halloween. It's hilarious. It's how they do those really funny skits before the actual episode starts, and that was one of them. So I got this in, and I got my new A5 Chic Sparrow cover in the Scout. It's a limited release, so I don't know if they're gonna continue with it or not, but I got that in. It's really good Happy Meal day. And then I made this washi strip using a distress stain and then a hand carved stamp that I made. This was also, I think, part of that journal with me. I did those really cool ink bottle with fancy legs, and I made this whatchamacallit, this tip-in here. So my favorite thing about this page, aside from the quirky ink bottles, is this cutout word that I did. So I actually started doing this, and I did a couple other places in like throughout these 2 weeks, where I wrote out the letters and then cut them out of solid paper, and I really loved how that looks. So this is something that I do foresee myself continuing even after this challenge, is cutting out my own letters and stuff. It's time consuming, but I don't know, I really liked how that looked. So this is one of my favorite things. I really enjoyed how these butterflies turned out. This is on those painted papers that I made, and I just stamped the images. So one of the things that I was really pleasantly surprised with while I was going through and trying to find things for this challenge is that I rediscovered a lot of my own supplies, like just all these forgotten stamps that I didn't know I had bought and put them in a drawer and just never used. And yeah, I love it. I have pulled out so many more stamps. I don't typically use them just because it's a lot of effort, I feel like. But I really like that. And that's something that I want to challenge myself to continue to do, which is use my supplies more. So I've rediscovered my love of stamps and my own collection. This is another page I did on camera. I completed it here. My husband and I were like super nerds, and we have an enormous Funko Pop collection, figures. We do anime figures and board games. We really like indie board games and stuff. So we actually buckled down and we bought a bunch of shelves from IKEA, and we spent all that weekend putting them all together and organizing them. So it's kind of hard to tell from the picture, but like this whole shelf is all my hero figures. This is for TV shows, so like half of it is all the It's Always Sunny figures, and then the other half is all my Office stuff. So I have like the box set, the mini Office Funkos. I have 5 Funkos of Dwight. I have a Dundee. Yeah, I love The Office. Anywho, so yeah, this is like my Sailor Moon one. Demon Slayer and Goblin Slayer. We have like a really cool Goblin Slayer figure. And then down here we just have our board games. Anywho, so yeah, this one, you can see here I did the same thing with the cutout of the letters. And like I said, I don't know, I just really like the messy look that it has. This was another thing that I really enjoyed making. I don't even know what you would call them. I guess I don't know. I'm just gonna say stickers. I fell down the rabbit hole of small wooden stamps, and I have a small collection, but I never actually used them, and I really enjoyed how this looked, like the contrast of like the watercolor background with the stamp. So I'm gonna continue with that. And yeah, oh, and here's another one. I hand carved this stamp and this one. These you saw me make on camera. I did like a little mini tutorial. I love this layering thing. I don't know why I never did it, but this is another one of those things that I do foresee myself continuing to use going forward. Because, I don't know, it's just super cool. And then this one, I made this using, where is it? I think I have the original. Yeah. So I did this using a Jane Davenport face stamp, and I had cut out a bunch of pages from like a vintage gardening book that I got at a thrift store, and I decided to like make her little head all the strawberries, and that's an apple, and then I used the leaves. I don't know, I thought it was really cute. I made another one with, this is like a basket of flowers. And yeah, I have commitment issues when it comes to making stuff like this, so I made scanned copies of them so that way I could try them with different like outfits and stuff. and not feel like I've ruined it, you know. Hoarder problems. But yeah, so I did that here. This was a card. I don't know if I made this one on camera or if I did this one off camera when I was doing all of those like iCAD stuff. This is the original. And so yeah, I just put it on here. This Scanlan's Hand, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, you've probably heard of Critical Role. They're like a YouTube channel and they get together and they're all voice actors, which is really funny, and they play Dungeons and Dragons, and they had a really huge following on YouTube, and they were able to start their own animated series on Amazon Prime. That's been going on for I think a couple weeks now, but Scanlan is like my favorite character because he's just like this quirky pervy dude who sings all the time, and he's hilarious. Anyway, so yeah, that's what this page is. It's just me talking about watching Vox Machina and stuff. And this was the last day that I journaled for my 2-week challenge. In my tutorial video that came out last week, I cut off the top half of this because it's a Jane Davenport face stamp on printed paper, and I just cut off the top to keep the eyes. Well, I used the bottom and I put some stamps to kind of make it look like a bouquet was coming out of her face. And I was gonna make it just look like, sorry, I was just gonna make it look like it was a vase, a flower vase, but I don't know, I stamped it kind of wrong and I wasn't loving it, so I gave her hair and a little crown, and yeah. And then this was the frames that I made, and I used it just to put the date and then some stamped images. All right, so things that worked and things that did not work for me. And I guess I'll just leave this here. So I think the whole main focus behind this challenge was to spark or reignite that creative urge and that creative spirit, and just kind of make me be more hands-on. I found myself relying a lot on other people's stuff and principles, and I wasn't drawing as much. I wasn't playing around with my supplies as much. I just kind of fell into that same routine of putting on a printable and then just working backwards, which isn't a bad thing. It's just I found that my journaling style just kind of stopped being about what I made and put on the page, or at least not as much as it used to be. And I'll show you what I mean. So this is my first ever creative, like actual creative insert that I made. Yeah, this is from, I think, 2017. So this is the first one I ever completed. this is the first year I subscribed to Courtney Diaz. And I feel like there was so much more. Like, I drew this and I painted it. I was trying to do faces and bodies. Yeah, I did a lot more like creative exploration in my journals. Like, I just did a lot of watercolors. I made my own little like Nook monster. I hated this page, but you know. Anyway, like I just did a lot more creating, I guess. Like, I made my own tip-ins, I drew more. I was missing a lot of that charm that I used to get in my older journals. So I wanted to use this challenge to get some of that back. And I think I was successful somewhat. This felt like a palette cleanser in a way. It made me rethink how I look at my supplies. It made me be more innovative and try things that I wouldn't have thought to do. Like, for example, this little paper cutout thing. Like, I would not have thought to do that before. Or like, I wouldn't have taken the time to because I didn't need to. You know, I had printables that I could cut out and use instead. And it's fast, it's easy, and you get a certain amount of like refined polish that you get from like collage printables, but you miss out a lot on that handmade charm. So like I said, it really forced me to look at things in a new way, like figuring out that I could use my smaller wooden stamps like this, or that I could use my stamps to make my own printed papers, making my own letters. Thinking of putting these two stamps together, like it forced me to look and analyze my supplies differently. And I think that it was very successful for me in that regard. So like I said, it was a palette cleanser. It really helped me get some of that, like I said, that handmade charm back. And there's just a sense of pride that you get when you look at things that you made yourself. That being said, am I going to give up printables forever? Absolutely not. I love supporting creators on Patreon. I love having other people's art in my journal. I just am going to take it upon myself from here on moving forward to have a good balance of my own stuff and other people's. So I think for me, the biggest thing that worked was I had a day where I just like made things in bulk. I made all the base layers first, like all the printed papers. I did all the jelly plate stuff all in one day. And throughout that week, I just set aside time to make stamped images in bulk, to try out these little things, to make dates in bulk. And I think that that's something I'm going to continue, obviously not to this scale, but just setting aside time for myself at least once a week to like make my own things. But yeah, so overall, I think it was a very successful challenge. I am very, very glad I did it. And thank you for all of those of you who watched and supported and who attempted this challenge themselves. And if you didn't, that's totally fine. You can do this at any point in time. Really, like I said, the whole focus behind this was just falling back in love with my own work. But all right, guys, so that was my overall what worked, what didn't work for my 2-week journal fodder challenge. Before I close out this video, I'm going to do a quick flip of my completed January pages, or just like the state of my journal and where it is now, because I haven't done a flip. So I'm going to do that right now. If you've been watching the last few videos, you will have noticed that I did change covers again. So Chic Sparrow had that really big like overstock sale in December, and I picked up a couple of their Cascade folios and different leathers that I wanted to try. And this one is the chocolate creme. I wanted the regular creme, but it was sold out, so I went with the chocolate one. Everybody raves about this creme leather, and I kind of see why. I do like how it feels. It's very supple, it's pliable while still holding its shape. It's just like soft and squishy. I don't know, but yeah, it's great and it smells amazing. The color I'm not a huge fan of, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep this one or not. But all right, the inside's the same. I didn't really change anything. And these first few pages are also the same. So the reason I like to put a calendar image in front of the monthly pages is because I like to indicate what days I journaled with these little stickers. They come in the Happy Planner sticker books. Usually it's got like 3 or 4 different colors, and I just cut them up and I keep them only for this purpose. This is my January month at a glance. I did the picture a day. I still have to print out that one and then put a number for this one, but I wanted to practice faces and like drawing again. So this one, I think that's my first one. Yeah, that's my first one in this page, or in this journal, I should say. I made this journaling card. I don't like to put the originals. I typically don't. I usually scan them and then print them onto cardstock or matte photo paper to use as tip-ins, because it makes it all smooth. I don't have to worry about any of the ends coming up. So this is a scanned image of one that I made. I placed, so this was like Happy Mail. I ordered, like I said, on their big overstock sale, I ordered a dark brown Scout A6 for my 5-year, and that's what I've been using since I got it. I really love the Maverick leather, and my particular notebook had a lot of desert sun along the spine, which made it bends beautifully. And then that's a bead from Summer Art, or Summer Wind Art. I think it's Summer Wind Art. So Artistic Cat on Etsy, she used to sell half pans of Daniel Smith watercolors, but she had to close her shop because Daniel Smith didn't like people selling half pans apparently. So this was what I like placed a really big order, because I hadn't bought Daniel Smith watercolors in forever. So I used I have one of those like Daniel Smith swatch card things, and I just like swatched all the ones that I bought. This is when I realized that I don't think that this notebook is the old Tomoe River paper. I think this is that new Tomoe River paper that came out for a little bit, because it does not hold watercolors the way that my other inserts with this type of paper used to. So yeah, I realized it here. I was like, this is not the same paper. And that makes me sad, because I do not like this new Tomoe River paper. But anywho, so when the actual order came in, I like swatched them again in the back, and it worked better the second time. But yeah. Anyway, I placed a huge order, and that's what this is. This is just a meme that my husband made of my sock. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I did some of this one on camera with a journal with me, or on a journal with me. I placed an order from Pocket Journal Pam that came in, and that was just like the cute little note that came with it. It's me and my mom. She's such a beautiful lady. And this one, I placed an order because Pam over at Pocket Journal Pam mentioned Julia K Art Studio, and I watched her swatch some of them, and I was really intrigued. So I went and I placed an order, and I got these in that day. And I have a swatch, hold on. So these are the ones that I got. Opium is the most beautiful color I have ever seen. It's like a neon reddish pink. I wouldn't say it's like, maybe like, it's more pink than red, but it's just so vibrant, and I freaking love it. So these are the colors that I got. Oh, and this is the Artistic Cat watercolors as well. This first part on watercolor paper. I watched Encanto that day. Freaking love that movie. And this is Pocket Journal Pam also. Can you tell I've been binge watching a lot of Pam's videos? She got this cute cup from a grocery store here in Germany, and her and I actually live kind of close to each other, and I messaged her and she told me where she got it, so I drove to go get one. And yeah, it's adorable. I got the little boy because I just loved his like shirt and his little quirky glasses. So yeah, he's sitting on my shelf, and you've probably seen him in a couple of my videos too in the background. And that was that. That is all that I have done in my journal thus far. All right, guys, I am going to leave you all here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day, and y'all have a good one. Bye.